Ready, set, go. All right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to make it so that we'll start off with our sun here and see if we can't make it start to move down. So the built-in variable that we're going to use, and there's a number of built-in variables that we've talked about. So far we looked at width and height. We looked at mouse X and mouse Y. When it moves back and forth, we can track where it is. It's a built-in variable. We don't need to like make a function for it. This one is going to be called frame count. Frame count starts from the moment you start playing the movie, and it basically is keeping a count of every frame that has passed. And you can actually have it print out the frame count and give you an idea on how fast it's running. Things that have a lot of animation in it, you can kind of have an idea on whether or not it's running well on a particular computer or not, because it is really kind of dependent on the computer, generally speaking. What we're going to do here, though, is we're going to use that variable to animate some things. And I'm going to do that right here inside of where the sun is. So if we kind of take a quick look here at our sun code, we can take a look, and maybe the best way to maybe do this is to print out the variable so we can see what it is. We'll say text, and then we can just write the variable itself, frame count, comma, and then we'll make it be 200, comma, 100. Now let's make it 150. We'll make it over a little bit. So this is going to draw that variable, and it should be about the same location as this, just over a little bit. When we run it, let's see, there we are. So you're going to see this number is just going to keep counting up and up and up and up, and it'll keep going and going and going until it gets to some really, really crazy large number that'll take probably an hour to get to. So what we're looking at here is a way that we can kind of use that to maybe change the position of the sun. Now, just in that short amount of time, you can see it's already at 600. So if we're looking at starting from 0 at the top and moving down, we only have 300 pixels here to work with. And we don't want the sun to set maybe that fast. So what we can do is we can take that value and then divide it by something. So using just a little bit of division, we should be able to just use a fraction of that speed. Right now, just in the time I've been talking, we're now at 1300, and we would be way off of our screen, even the higher resolution screens. So what I want to do is I'm going to say for my y value, remember we're x and y in an ellipse, so these values are x comma y, so the location of the center of the ellipse, and then the other two are the size, so it's the width comma height are the values that we're looking at here. And if at any time you don't remember this, remember you can always go to the reference right here in the help and just look for ellipse, and it'll show you those exact values. I just hit that page and I do a quick Control F, or if I spell ellipse right. And so here, if we look at the ellipse command, it'll give us all of those kinds of information. So it can be x, y, width, height, detail. You can actually get around it by only putting one value in. But we've kind of discussed that before. But if you forget, you always have that help there. There's no shame in going to look it up at any point in time to check your syntax. So here we go. We're going to now say for our y value, let's add something to that. So we'll start the sun at there, and then if we just add in frame count to that, these two numbers here are going to add together to give us our new location. Now, I'm going to put them in, I'm going to put them in parentheses. There we go. Just for kind of good mathematical form. When I go ahead and I run that now, you can see it's falling very quickly. So I don't want it to be quite that fast. So let me take, instead of frame count let me do frame count maybe divided by 3. So now you can see how it's falling much slower. And I dare say we could probably make this be something closer to 10 when we do our count. And now this is moving much, much slower. Now, this other number's not moving. We don't need to see this anymore. So I'm going to clean up my code. But now you can see how it's very, kind of slowly kind of dropping here and going. It should, if I've layered them properly, go behind the mountains here. And it's going to give me a nice little effect to it. Now, the other option I could do with using this frame count doesn't have to be necessarily using that, but I can make maybe another kind of shape. Let me go in front of maybe the mountains, and let me make another ellipse. Let me make something that looks maybe like a cloud. So doing the cloud, I'm going to use an ellipse command, and let's do a, we'll maybe do 100 by, well, I want it to move sideways, right? So I'm going to say, I'll just make it be frame count divided by 4. I don't know. We're just going to play with it and test it out and see how it works. So that's going to be starting from 0 from this side and moving across this way into the space. So if I say that, let me, oops, not reading glasses. Let me see. We could do, yes, let's do this. Let's make it so it's roughly about that same height as the sun, and then we'll kind of move it over. So we'll start it at around 150, I think. And then what we'll do is we'll have it kind of shift across. And we'll make our cloud, I'll just make one ellipse, and you can choose to put a couple of them together, and I think it'll turn out really nice. So my one ellipse, I'll make it be, I don't know, 40 wide and maybe 20 tall. And now when I run that one, let's see what we get. Now, it's going to be this kind of brownish cloud as it goes across. Let's change that so we get a different color for it. We're going to say, let's make our fill be 255, which will make it be a white cloud. And then I think since clouds are kind of transparent, we want to take that a little bit further. Let's make it be transparent, and we'll use that alpha as one of our commands to do that. So remember, if you're only using 2 values, you can say your alpha then is going to be, or let's do all 3. We'll say 255, 255. That's going to be white, and my last value is going to give me a kind of cloud value. So that is my transparency, or my alpha. Let's see, can we see it? Oh, it's very dim cloud, very, very, very misty looking cloud. Let me make it maybe 40, oops, or 30. Let's try 30 for our transparency, or alpha. Maybe a little bit more. We'll do even more, we'll do 50, so it's something we can clearly see. How does that look? So here you can see I've got now one particular cloud kind of floating across. And we could use that as a push and a pop and a translate, but now we're kind of adding another dimension to it. We're adding something that can move. It's probably moving a little slower than, or faster than maybe I'd want. Maybe it's the sun that I really want to change its rate. Now, I'm going to not continue going through here. You get the idea. Using that frame count can allow you to like kind of shift, and you can see how these things play out. You can also use that. You can also use that frame count to maybe make the color of the background get darker over time, or have it something elapse. And I think that'd be a really interesting way to use all of this. Excuse me. I'm really excited to see what you're all going to create inside the environment, and don't be afraid to experiment. Try all kinds of different shapes. I think a lot of your peers are going to come up with wonderful ideas. You're fair enough to appropriate them if you can go in and cite where you got them from and just add a comment in your code and a line. It's perfectly okay. So thank you very much. If you've gotten this far in the video, definitely try to take it a little step farther and experiment and try to make it be kind of that artistic landscape that you envisioned inside your head. I really look forward to it.